Alrighty guys, we're on to the Billet Specialties front drive. I'm going to be totally honest with you, I don't have a f***ing clue what I'm doing. I've never done one of these. The one that's on the GTO behind us was put on when the engine was received by Boris at Street Machine, or Street Machinery. So this one we're doing, and we're doing it for the first time. And I'm going to follow every single bit of this instruction booklet to make sure I get it all right. The Holley front runners, I've done so many of them I can do them with my eyes closed now. These I haven't, so I figure I'll get this one under my belt. We'll see if I do another one after this, and then I should have some shortcuts and not have to sit here and go through the booklet. So, first thing they say to do is to throw the crank damper on it. They give you a ATI super damper. So, let's throw that on. So this is a two-piece damper. They give you your hub that mounts to your crank. They give you all these bolts for your perimeter here. Then they give you your damper itself. So I'm going to go over to my tool storage, grab my harmonic damper installer, and put this hub on. Alright, once that's pressed all the way in, Billet Specialties gives you a new factory crank bolt. So you're going to put that in, torque it to spec. Then you're going to put their hub on here, or their damper on the hub, with all their 12-point hardware that they give you. Some blue Loctite, torque it to the specs. Instructions for this come with the hub itself. Alright, one quick thing before I put this damper onto the hub. The damper does have to be indexed to this hub because you can put it on in different areas. Not for balance-wise, but for timing mark-wise. Not like that's going to be a huge thing with this LS engine anyways because they're computer-timed, but you want to do it right anyways. If you look, this hole right there, you see that little pock mark that's there? So that is going to line up with that one, and it's also right there on the sticker. So we're going to put this on this way. So we're on right now. There's your sticker. There's your little pockmark. This is the bolt hole that had the one next to it, so that's how we're going to mount this. There are also two different style of mounting holes. You have flat recessed ones that are going to be flush mount, and then actual 12 points. Now, you will be putting in all the flat ones right now, and then when our crank pulley goes on after, these will be going through the crank pulley and then into there. Alright, next up we got two big old chunks of billet here, 1 and 2. This one mounts right here, and then this one mounts like this right here, like so. And just so you guys know, there are no torque specs for these four. It is just tighten firmly. Alright, next up, water pump studs. You'll notice you've got shorter and longer, 2 of each. The longer ones go on the passenger side, the shorter ones go on the driver's side. Put a drop of Loctite in, and they say to turn them in as far as they will go. Also, both sides, they go in the holes on the side of your lower port. You've got a different piece of hardware that's going to go in this top one after. Alright, once you get those in, you can throw on your supplied water pump gaskets and grab your water pump. So we're finally into a big piece. And this is going to just go on these studs. As such. But there's no mounting hardware yet. Alright, now we're moving to the driver's side. You're going to slide on your alternator bracket over the 2 studs. The last hole is going to line up with your upper bolt for your water pump. Dab of Loctite, throw that on there, then dab of Loctite there, dab of Loctite there. and you have multiple standoffs in the kit. They're all 2.145 sized, and you have to put 2 of them on here. But we're not tightening anything down yet because we still have to tighten down this side with what bracketry is going to go over there. It's starting to get some color. And we're not done on this side yet. We have more standoffs. So you have 3 more standoffs and 3 studs that have an Allen in one side. You're going to assemble these into the standoffs this way. And then they're going in this hole, and that hole. As such. Bing, bam, boom. So now I've got to go grab the power steering bracket that's going to bolt up to this. All right, power steering bracket, 3 bolts, go into your 3 standoffs. Loctite and tighten accordingly till tight, snug, whatever it said before. Then we're going to move to this other side, finally get the other side of the water pump snug down. All right, on to our next bracket on the passenger side finally. So that is going to be this main accessory bracket. You have to put this bung in with a flathead, or a flush mount, I mean. Be forewarned, let me turn you up here to show you my thrilledness. There is metric and standard hardware in this entire kit, and they are all just packaged together, so you have to go figure it out. Also, I read to the next step after I get done putting this bracket on, and we put another 100 millimeter, this is a 110 millimeter up here. Then they tell me to take these 2 bolts out and replace them with the same style bolt. There is 2 more up there. Why tell me to tighten all of these all the way down in the block if we are taking them back off? Oh well, whatever. Let's get to it. So this is going to go on in this fashion. Nope. Which way is it? I gotta figure it out here. Let me look at it. Am I looking the right way? Oh, it goes like this. Okay. I just had it in the wrong position. All right. Hey, now I can take these 2 out and replace them with the regular bolts, because that was counterproductive. All right, now is the time where you can tighten all 3 of your water pump bolts on this side and all 3 on this side. All right, so next up is what they call your alternator bridge bracket. That's going to mount to these 2 standoffs with these 2 flush mounts. So I'm going to throw some Loctite on it, lock that down, then we can go grab the alternator actually. They do say leave the bridge bracket just barely loose, because you want to have, I guess, some play to be able to line up your alternator and whatnot. So we'll just leave them like that loose. All right, first major accessory, the alternator. So now we're switched up to some actual ARP 12 points. You've got an 80 millimeter one that's going to go down here, and you've got a 25 millimeter that's going to go up here. So I've moved all my stuff out of the way. Let's grab my handy dandy painted and detailed alternator and slide this thing in here without hitting anything and chipping my beautiful finish. There we go, bottom one. Get lined up, come on. Wow, that is some tight clearance. Why am I not? Oh, there we go. Just had a little bit of built up primer apparently. Let's get back in there. What is that I just felt? Oh, there's a spacer in there. That's what I was feeling. You got to remove that spacer. Well, that's why the bolt wouldn't go through. It should be much easier now. That apparently is for not this application. And get this started. All right. We are in there and we are hanging. I'm going to tighten all these now. All right, and just like that, our first major accessory is bolted on. So this is one of the things they don't tell you about, that little spacer in there. So that spacer is going to be for if something with the stock use of whatever this alternator would fit. It's probably a smaller bolt than what they use. And just so you know how tight clearances and constructions are, that is, I probably could pull out one of my beard hairs and barely fit it in through there. But none of this stuff is adjustable, nor does it move, because it's serpentine adjustment tensioners. So that's okay. On to the next part. All right, we're still not finished on this side. Now you're going to grab one of your 2.5-inch idler pulleys. There is 2 kits of pulleys. There's one that comes with 2 of these. It's labeled 2.5-inch idler pulleys. And there's one that comes with these, and this is labeled Supercharger smooth and grooved idler pulleys, blah, blah, blah. So it's these. You can make sure your sleeve is in, which it comes in, but they tell you just make sure it's in anyways. And this is your outside cover. This is kind of like the Wegner's. So the pulley will spin, but this outside cover does not. You've got an 1 3/4 ARP 12 bolt. So we're going to throw a drop of never come off juice on it. And that goes in this hole right here on your alternator bracket. All right, so I'm going to tighten that down, and then next up I believe we are doing our power steering pump. Also, if you have my flavor of autism, all these pulleys that the outside cover doesn't spin, I'm going to orient them all the same way so they all look the same. I did the same thing on the Wegner drive, only on the Wegner drive it was pretty much almost every pulley on that thing. So, and those were black, but they had machined accents on them, so they really stuck out and looked nice. But yeah, as you can see, pulley spinning, outside cover not. Okay, power steering pump is next. So that is going to mount with your pressure port facing upwards, and I've already mounted our remote 6AN pipe that they give you. I did that after I painted it. And then it's going to mount in this orientation like this, and you're going to bolt through your pulleys with these 2 socket head screws. And there we go. I like it. I believe we're done with the driver's side of the motor. Actually, the next thing they have me do, looks like we're doing a tensioner over here and then putting our crank pulley on. And we can start on this side. What do we got over here? Just AC. That's it. AC and then a bunch of belts, or a bunch of pulleys and tensioners, and putting some belts on. So we're close. All right, so first up is these 3 40mm bolts are going to hold this tensioner to that bracket. Just like so. All right, now the crank pulley's going on. It means I'm going to lose my area for my directions here. You get 3, I think these are 3/8 16 thread bolts. You don't use the 12 points that come with this. They give you theirs because they're shiny or whatnot. And Belleville washers, which if you don't know what those are, it's just a conical washer for more clamping force. This is a nice heavy-duty billet pulley, which now I know why they use a fluid damper instead of using, you know, a one-piece damper pulley system like factory. And also, even though these have Belleville washers on them, once again, it is just tighten firmly. One person's firmly could be a lot different than somebody else's firmly, but I'm going to firmly tighten these now. And there we go. We're getting more and more looking like a completed engine. Up next, we have more brackets and standoffs for this side. Okay, we're down to our final 2 standoffs. Yay! So, we're taking this other bracket, which I believe is the inner bracket for our air compressor, and you put a couple of flatheads, or flush mounts. I keep calling them flatheads, but you understand what I mean. And then tighten your standoffs onto this side of them. All right, and then that bracket is going to mount where your stock tensioner mount would go on like an LS3. Not sure if the LSA has the same mount or not. That's going to go here. But before I do that, I was looking and I just realized I didn't put on my PCV hose to join it. Also, if you were to put a catch can on your vehicle and you were going to keep the vacuum feed from the suction side from in the valley as the LSAs come, this is where you would put your catch can in line between these 2. Mounted like so. I believe now we are on to putting on some pulleys because I don't have a lot of hardware left. This is kind of all we got left for bolts, and then we got some pulleys, and I have an AC compressor over there, and I believe the outer bracket for the AC compressor. So let's get back to it. Alright, so we are actually on to all the Supercharger idlers. Those are all going to mount right here, and then I believe after these are on, I'm putting the belt on, and then it's the AC compressor. So let me open all these and I'll show you which ones go where, because you have 2 smooth and 1 ribbed. Oh shoot, also we have a water pump pulley, but they haven't told me to put that on yet, so that must go on after for the accessory drive. Okay, so these 3 pulleys come with a spacer that's already in them, just like the other ones, but they tell you to make sure it's in there. And they come with this front washer or front cover that basically covers the front of the bearing there. Just make sure you got these, because as I found out twice already, these love to stick in the vacuum sealed plastic, and then you're looking around going, where the heck's my cover? And you almost throw out the plastic and it's sitting in the plastic. Okay, so these mount as follows on this boss: smooth pulley, ribbed pulley. Alright, so next up they tell you to install your supercharger belt. It's a pretty basic routing. It's going to go through here and through here. You kind of pinch it through here, and then over your crank, and then it's got to go over this. So I believe I'm gonna, there's no smooth pulley on this one, so we're gonna go this way. And they say this belt is extremely tight. How's this go again? Oh, so it goes down through there, so we'll do this one last. It's either going to be this one last or the blower itself last. We'll see. We'll see how much slack is in here. They literally say in the instructions that using the biggest breaker bar you have will work the best for putting this belt on, because it is very tight. And then this bolt for this tensioner is reverse thread, so you can do this. Let's see. We'll see how much give this tensioner gives me, or if I'm going to have to get creative jumping this thing on. Make sure I'm on all my pulleys good. Oh, and they give you 2 belts. One is an 8 and one is a 6 rib. Obviously the 8 rib is for your 8 rib pulleys, which are going to be for your blower. Let's see. Oh, they lied. That's not that bad. We're nice and tight on there. All right. I can't spin the blower by hand anymore. Aha! Now I know why I have so many bolts left, but not a lot of accessories to put on, because it takes 8 bolts just to put your water pump pulley on. So we're going to be bolting through these recessed holes, bolting that hub to the water pump, and then through the other 4 holes, bolting the pulley to that hub. Alright, you got some metric socket heads that are 1 3/8 long, and that's going to bolt this hub to this pulley, or flange, we'll call it. And we have a water pump pulley. Trying not to catch my finger in there. Alright, AC compressor is next. Alright, so the AC compressor starts with not spilling PAG oil all over your hand like I did, but, oh, drop the washer. I'll pick that washer up in a minute, but you take this weird shouldered bolt they got, and it goes in the back ear on your AC compressor. Then that shouldered bolt and the ear go in this little cutout on this other bracket, like so. It just kind of hangs there loosely right now, because now we have to get the other bracket that's going to locate everything. Well, they really saved the best for last, because there's about 6 things that have to go on for this bracket to go on here. Because not only does this bracket go on here, but it also mounts through to your final tensioner, as well as on the outside of this bracket. When this is all set and on, your final idler pulley mounts down here. So there's a crap ton going on, so I'm going to use 2 hands and both of my brains and get all this in here, and I'll be right back. All right, there we go. That took some doing, but everything is in hand tightened except for this bolt. I tightened all the way. So now I'm just going to go through and tighten all these bolts up. Okay, there we go. I still got to tighten that weird little shoulder bolt down there. I'm going to grab that with a universal. And apparently it's just on your main belt, that idler and that idler are the two that have the outsides that don't spin. So, I mean, they are even. So I'm going to tighten that. We're going to throw the belt on it. We're going to take a step back and see what we built. Well, I definitely don't hate it. I'm still on the fence on if I like this or the Wegner more. I think I'm kind of leaning towards the Wegner still, but this is a nice little kit. Packages nicely between the factory frame rails and stuff, and everything looks pretty good. Oh, you guys want to see it? Oh, okay. So, not too shabby. Let me move my cart out of the way and not hit the Wimbledon white over here. I like it. The blower belt is awesome. It's got a ton of wrap for what this is going to be, a street engine. It doesn't need to have 3/4 wrapping around that blower pulley for what this engine's going to be. We're going to go into tomorrow. I'm going to see if I can squeeze enough paint out to paint my adapters for the other valve covers, because really all I got left on this motor to do is put the other valve covers on. I have the coils and everything over there. I actually have my Excel ceramic wires as well, and then put my dipstick tube back in, which I can do after the valve covers, so I'm not moving that around and scratching it. But I mean, all in all, I really like this kit. It's clean. It's got enough black accents to bounce off of the dark bronze mist metallic that we painted this. I'm waiting now for, we have a coolant manifold for here from Dedicated Motorsports that has two 12 ORB fittings, or 12 AN ORB fittings coming off of here for our heat exchanger. And I have from Dedicated Motorsports a block off for this, that was the purge valve, and a block off for this, that was the one of the map sensors. So this is the map sensor that reads vacuum. This is the one that reads boost, and the one that was here that I got rid of is the one that reads atmospheric pressure. And these block offs are black as well as this manifold, so that'll look even better. But yeah, not too shabby. So, if you guys see something after this part of the video, that means I have figured out I have enough paint to do what I need to do, and we're going to get the valve covers on tomorrow. If not, I will put those in another video. So it could go either way. I also have 2 tons of crap to get rid of. Like, this doesn't look like a lot, but the entire area over there where I was working on this engine is also loaded with trash. So I have to clean everything up. But yeah, not too shabby. Really, really liking it. All the specialties. Guys, it's like a day or two before we're supposed to get like 18 inches of snow, or possibly 0.8 inches of snow. Welcome to Massachusetts. It could go either way. But last night I had enough paint to take care of the visible areas I needed to take care of on our valve cover adapters. So we're going to slap these things on. Alrighty, much like Billet Specialties front drive kit, these valve covers come with a bunch of standoffs, because why wouldn't they? So we have standoffs, we have our bolts that bolt the adapter down to the block itself. Then one of these 2 sets of bolts is going to bolt our small block Chevy valve covers to the adapters, and then these are all your spacers for your coils and whatnot. These are your oil fill plugs. One thing I'm actually going to do right now is call and get oil and a filter for this, because I want to put oil in this before we seal the engine all back up, because then there's no easy way to add oil. You have to remove your Chevy valve cover and to get to that port to put oil in it. So let me order that stuff up right now. Alright, so we're going to take 4 of those standoffs, put them in the 4 holes that would be our normal valve cover retaining bolt holes. I'm going to just throw a dab of Loctite in each one of these instead of putting them on the threads. Works the same no matter what. And put these in. After I get these all in by hand, we will tighten them in. Just got a 13mm 1/4 inch on a T-handle. Tighten these in, and it says snugly fit, like on all the other standoffs. Alright, now your valve cover adapters. Coils are going to mount on here and whatnot. These are going to be where your actual valve cover, your small block Chevy one, mounts on there. Your wires will be coming through these chases here. This chamfer here, so these are designed as a rear exit harness, so you have to, if you don't have enough harness, you got to get an elongated harness or an adapter or a pigtail. Brings the wire out the back, so you don't have any wires up top where you normally have them. These are also left and right specific. As you can see right here, this is your passenger side. So I'm going to put my gasket in here. It's a factory gasket, obviously, because it's going on a factory engine. And then we're going to bolt this thing down. So since the LSA and LS3, anything that uses the center style PCV vacuum draw, instead of drawing it through one valve cover and out the other, this draws it through here, and then your fresh air comes in through both valve covers, which your factory valve covers have your bungs in there for that. These also do in the rear. So you'll have this little port right here that goes to where this pipe plug is right here. So once this is all installed, I'll pull this pipe plug, put a right angle MPT to barb fitting style fitting on it, and I will run those up both sides here discreetly and into my intake tube. Now, since we are running a Holley Terminator on this, you can technically vent them to atmosphere, but I don't like doing that. So we're going to vent it back into the intake track as factory style would be. Holley uses speed density, does not use a mass airflow meter, so you can vent to atmosphere. Factory, if you're using a mass airflow sensor, you can, because you can do speed density on factory computers as well. But mass airflow meter, you have to vent that back in. Otherwise, it's an uncalculated air leak, and your air fuels are never going to be correct, and you'll blow your motor up. So, now that I got my gasket on here, we're going to lay this on top of the head and bolt this thing in. Alright, so this does not seem like it's going to be super fun to line up, but we'll see. Put my bolts up here. I'm not going to put Loctite on these. Factory does not use it, so I'm going to let the tension of the gasket hold this tight. Huh. That was, I think, a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. Are we centered? Where are we? Right there. Perfect. All right, I'm going to go get my other two bolts and then torque these four down. All right, so this is one area you got to pay attention to. For mounting your coils, they give you short spacers and short bolts and long spacers and long bolts. And that's because this coil will be mounted in this position. This coil will be mounted in this position. And the coils have an offset in them. So the ones that are in this position, you'll be using the taller standoff. The ones that are in this position, you'll be using the shorter. And these absolutely use Loctite. I have lost count of how many times I have had to take, not these ones, but the other normal coil hideaway valve covers apart, because you got coils in here that are just shaking around loose because nobody Loctites these things, and this is a massively high vibration area. So, do stuff the right way. Okay, and when you're done, you should end up with something that looks like this. Now, in their instructions, they give you several part numbers for compatible plug wires, because they've got to be certain style and length. You can't just bolt a regular LS plug wire up to this. I think they give you the one number for the Excel ceramics, which we really like using. And then they give you like two numbers for MSDs, I believe, as well. So how you're going to mount these in here, because they're cut to fit, they basically want you to bring this in, and you're going to bunch this up and bring it back. So you'll have a bunch of bunched up wire in there like this, like so. And that's okay, that's fine. I think I'm going to leave these at the length they are at and just cut and terminate them how they are. And we will have a good amount of wire hanging out, and they'll be even all the way back through. I also, after getting this valve cover on here, or this adapter, I'm still going to do my breathers, but I think I'm going to bring this one across tee it into this one here, and then just one line up on this side, because our air intake tube is coming off this side of the motor. So if we just bring one up here into there, that will be a little bit neater in my eyes. So I am going to start making my wires. They're already actually pre-cut here. Cool. So I'll just do them right from there. That's perfect. And I've got to fish through our Terminator box and pull out our coil harnesses as well. Well, there we go with a small block Chevy valve cover on an LSA. I don't hate it. I don't really hate it at all. One thing I am going to do is I was going to bend and reshape and make the stock oil dipstick work, but instead I think we're just going to order the same low car unit that we have on the GTO, because that's just a much nicer, smaller, minimalistic style dipstick tube than what we've got going on in there. And I don't really want to bend it all around to fit with the manifolds. The low car one is flexible, so it'll come right up and fit exactly just how I have it is. These are the same exact, you know, long block, basically dimension wise, same manifolds and everything that are on that car, so that'll all just go right on there. But let me rinse and repeat this on the other side. Well, here we go. I don't hate them. I don't like them any more than our regular hideaways like we have over here in the GTO, where they have a hole where it comes out like that. I did not realize one of these valve covers has welded in tabs to hold whatever on a small block Chevy. I'm assuming if this was on that side, probably fuel line, but that works out pretty good because I can use that to hold that evap hose, or the PCV hose I gotta bring out this way. But I mean, all in all, they don't look bad. I've got to straighten up the wires a little bit. Like, I know this wire is not the same as all the other ones, but these have to come off again when we get the harnesses in. We didn't have the harness that I needed in stock. We had some harnesses, but they were old, used, dirty ones, and not putting dirty ones on a brand new engine we just put together. So I'm going to go up in the office now and order up our low car oil dipstick and transmission dipstick, and this engine's going to be complete. Now I just got to wait for the paint to get here so we can paint the transmission. Oh, edit. This entire time I've been calling that thing a 4L80. It is not, and I was not aware of this. I was told at the beginning it was going to be a LSA 4L80 combo. Boris at Street Machine felt it would be better to put a built 4L65 in it, so that's what we have over there. So that is going to be getting painted and thrown in here, which is actually good because it's a smaller case, or, you know, form factor than the 4L80 is, so it'll definitely fit underneath this thing with zero issues. But yeah, so that'll be sometime next week. I'm not going to film that. I mean, this is the main thing. That's literally just going to be painting the transmission and putting it on. You don't need to really see nor care to see that. This was the meat and potatoes of this whole deal. So I am actually going to, at the end of this video, which is coming up like within 30 seconds, I'm going to put in a bunch of pictures I just received of the body all in paint, ready to be reassembled on this frame. So you'll see those, and then the next time you see this vehicle will be when it's back here in the shop and I'm doing wiring and plumbing and putting in all our stuff like our vintage air, Dakota Digitals, all that good stuff. So stay tuned. This is going to be a killer looking truck, and it's going to perform killer too. So stay tuned.